Hello, I'm Will Dockery. I'm with Kaleidoscope. We're covering all the local artists from the Chattahoochee Valley. And with art, that means, not just pretty pictures, but any sort of art you can think of. And today we've got Rachel Elliott, who does pretty much any sort of art you can think of. She's a playwright, does a one-woman show, does great pen and ink work. Actress, did I mention that? Sings, dances. Does the crossbow thing.
Longbow.
Longbow,
Yes.
okay, longbow. We're going to get into that later. But anyway, I know basically of you, but we're also going to star in a movie together. We'll get to that later.
Yes.
But where were you born, and what brought you to this point of creative virtuosity?
I was born in Catala, Georgia. Okay, my father was a minister and mother was a homemaker. I was privately schooled after about age 10 and lived in Catala and moved to Pine Mountain and have my own children's show, and that's where I'm at now.
Oh yeah, I remember you said you're doing a show called Calliope.
Yes.
And this is viewable all in our area. So
Yes.
no matter where you're at, you can see that show.
That's right.
And I think it's okay for her to name the stations it's available on, what time and all that?
Yes, it airs here on EATV several times a week and also on NBC 38.
Channel 7, 38. Okay. And what's the whole idea of the Calliope show? It's a children's show. I haven't seen it yet because I don't watch much television. But.
Okay, it's a children's show that teaches values and morals through the character of Calliope the clown, who is an aspiring clown. She wants to join her father, the ringmaster's traveling circus, and she's aided by about 30 of her puppet friends.
Oh, the clown. It's always cool to have clowns.
I'm not a clown, I just play one on television.
Oh, do I amuse you? Okay. Am I like a clown to you? Goodfellas moment. But the clown is always cool. I know you write probably poetry and everything.
Yes.
You have to write poetry, you do everything else. You sing. Arthur Rimbaud mentions the clown. He's got a great clown character there's just a very thin line between the clown and the poet. And as soon as the clown washes off the makeup, then he becomes a part of the crowd, and he's got to get back up there and do it again. The man with the stage fright. But so you do the white face and the whole clown
No, I
thing?
don't do white face.
I'll have to see this clown. We're going to show a flashing image of this clown shortly.
Okay.
We're going to get Donnie to show a clip of the Calliope show. And
I don't use traditional clown makeup because I feel like it may frighten some of the children.
you do a little bit of the mime kind of thing?
No, I don't mime.
Oh, you don't
I do
mime?
ventriloquist though.
Oh, ventriloquism. Oh. Well, you should get with Heath Williamson with his puppets, and
Is
maybe
that the one
might be
with Catfish
collaboration.
the puppet?
Yes.
Oh yeah. But so the Calliope show is available in Columbus, Phoenix City, Pine Mountain
Yes,
area.
and LaGrange,
LaGrange,
on
Georgia.
LGTV 19 and on YouTube.
Oh, okay. And is that on the Channel 7 YouTube or your separate YouTube, Rachel Elliott's YouTube?
We have a Calliope Clown YouTube account.
Well, this is a little early for us, but let's get Donnie to show some of that information on how to find Calliope, because we've got several different things to deal with. So this, the address for Calliope is...
The email is Calliope, CALLIOPE .clown at yahoo.com.
Oh, okay. And you can pretty much type in Calliope, Rachel Elliott, any
Yes.
of those keywords, and YouTube will just spring it right up at you.
Oh, it should, yes.
And that's because we got a lot of viewers all over the country, all over the world watching, and they all want to come to Phoenix City now.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So for you folks out there not in the local viewing area, just get on YouTube, type in Rachel Elliott, some Calliope, and enjoy it. And for you local folks, both sides of the river, we've got a treat for you. Let's go on into this little White House thing. That's very fascinating to me, which I just really heard about. One of my all-time heroes, the wife of one of my greatest heroes, FDR.
that's right.
I'd like to hear some about that.
Okay, well, I got started in that when I was 13 for a Georgia History project.
Oh.
I chose the Little White House in Warm Springs. And here I am 20 some odd years later, working as a volunteer. And I have portrayed Eleanor Roosevelt.
Wow.
Yeah, we tried several years ago to recreate the flight of Eleanor with the Tuskegee Airmen at Tuskegee Airfield, but weren't unable to go up that day because of there were too many clouds. I don't know the vernacular for air travel. Anyway, since that I've developed my one-woman show, which is basically a 5 to 10 minute monologue about life on the home front during the war from a woman's perspective. And the character is based on my grandmother who took in laundry and ironing during the war to make ends meet.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And I'm just in general a volunteer there, and I've been doing that for about 5 years now.
And this is ongoing as long as the Little White House is open?
Oh yes, I'll be there.
And for folks maybe tuning in, maybe don't know their history, maybe we should explain the Little White House. That was basically where the President of the United States spent a lot of his time, and for various reasons, you know, health reasons, different things like that. Google Franklin Roosevelt, and don't mistake him with the bully, the bull moose Teddy, who's also a great American hero of mine. But check it out, Little White House. Basically, that was where that was his base of operations through the Great Depression and World War II.
Oh yeah, it was a getaway. It was a treatment center. It was everything. And
a lot of young kids these days don't realize just what Roosevelt did for us, but we're still surviving on a lot of the stuff that he founded. You know?
The March of Dimes, for instance.
The March of Dimes, fabulous stuff. But another thing you do is the pen and ink.
Yes, this is.
What got you started on this pen and ink thing? Because it's a lot of detail there.
I love detail. Yeah. This is pen and ink, watercolor and colored pencil, predominantly colored pencil. And it's a composition I developed of vintage toys. It's the first in a series. And it's done on 200-pound hot press watercolor paper.
And there's a lot of detail there. I'm just curious how long it takes you to do that sort of thing.
That was about 60 hours.
Oh, okay. So, are these for sale, or you do these for
sale?
It
will be after I'm able to make the giclée print
gallery
copies.
showings or anything like that?
No, I have no gallery showings.
Okay, well. But again, if somebody wants to find you and commission something, I know you're available.
Yeah, and well, you can Facebook me too.
Oh, definitely the Facebook, yes. The Facebook.
It's a phenomenon.
Yeah. It's definitely, seems like it may be here to stay until the next big thing shows up.
Oh yeah.
But TV will always be here.
That's right.
Even though they're trying to stomp it out, but YouTube keeps it going. Well, let's see.
Would you like to talk about what I do in my spare time?
Well, that sounds good.
Okay, I have a lot of varying interests, from foreign language to archery. And I sing. I usually, when I sing, it's entertainment at a Scottish event.
Oh, okay.
I like to sing and recite the poems of Robert Burns.
Oh, okay.
And my archery, I shoot the English yew longbow.
And there's a lot of Scottish influence coming through there.
Oh yeah. And my family's origin is the United Kingdom, so Scottish, Irish, Welsh, and English.
Yeah, I'm Dockery, so I definitely come from very close by there. So.
Tally-ho, Mr. Dockery.
So, there's some thing we've spoke of in jest. I don't know if we're going to get into that, but what I need to get back to is the past. I need to get back to, there's that, it's not necessarily always an artist or a poet or game show host or anything like that that inspires you to really, the catalyst to make you what you are.
Right.
And basically what I like to do is try to get into the past, find out what brought this whole thing out.
Okay.
And influences,
Oh,
heroes,
yes.
besides Roosevelt and his wife, we know.
My father.
Your father.
My father was an artist, and in the late 40s, he had a full art scholarship and a promise of a job with Disneyland in California as a cartoonist.
Oh, wow, that's
He
great.
was unable to take that because of family situations. He had to stay here and take care of family. So
It was the 40s when animation was still the brilliant stuff that, you know, it's a lot
Yeah.
different nowadays, but back then, the
yeah.
Disney cartoons, those from back then, and what's the guys, Max Fleischer and, you know, the Popeye guy. Really just great stuff, you know. Tex Avery, I forget the names right now, but he was going to go off with Disney, but he wound up staying here.
Yes.
And
It
as
was,
we know, some people have to stay here.
Yeah, well, yeah. It was the era. It was just family responsibilities and priorities.
Late 40s.
He was a short order cook at Pep's. It was a little restaurant on 4th Avenue. It was a brick building that then became the Yamaha Suzuki.
4th Avenue in
dealership.
Columbus? You know, was it Peps or Pepe's?
Pep's.
Peps.
That's where he and my mother met.
Do you know about how far out 4th Avenue? This is really fascinating.
It's on the corner of 4th Avenue, and it's gone now. It was a brick building.
Yeah, this is very interesting
They
because
painted it bright yellow some years ago, and it became Yamaha. Then it was mowed down, and they put a foreign car dealership there. I don't know what's there now.
Yeah, it seems like it may have been very close to the Howard bus station and all that stuff.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Is like 2 blocks over from there was the train station, and back in the 40s, the 30s, 40s, and into the 50s, there was an entire lost neighborhood of Columbus. It was almost like the underground Columbus, where the train station, which actually was a passenger train, and the building's still there. I think Total Systems owns it or somebody.
Probably.
And there was a train station there where people from all over the place, soldiers, people from all over the country and the world, that was their view of Columbus, right there on, that must
Right.
be 6th
Yeah, it was
6th Avenue.
nearing Victory Drive.
And
Yes.
there was the Cardinal Hotel was there, which was a very curious place. There was a Depot Billiards. All this is gone now.
The Ma Rainey House is still
Oh, the
there.
Ma Rainey House. Yeah, the Liberty Theater. That was
Yes.
and it's a very interesting area that's just like really nothing to speak of. You know, there's something there, but nothing like it was. And it's really fascinating that he was right there in the middle of all that.
Yeah.
A cartoonist at heart, ready to go to Disney,
And ended up
living in
being
this surreal Columbus.
ended up being a draftsman, architect, design engineer, machinist, a minister. So he was bivocational.
Yeah, so he was basically, that's one influence he had, was juggling all sorts of forms of art and,
Yes.
and expression.
He was fascinating. He, at age 75, taught himself AutoCAD
Oh,
on the
wow,
computer. So, yeah, brilliant, brilliant man. He was definitely my hero and inspiration.
And yeah, well, I think that it's basically time for us to take a little short break here
All right.
from the signs I'm receiving from the Almighty God of TV. Okay, we're going to take a break, sell a few biscuits. We'll be back on Kaleidoscope with Rachel Elliott and talk a little bit more about her art. Come on back and join us. Okay. Hello and welcome to Kaleidoscope, the show where we cover all the arts of the Chattahoochee Valley, all the way from Woodbury to Eufaula and all points here, there, everywhere. Today I've got Rachel Elliott from Pine Mountain, basically, also other parts, but we've talked about her one-woman shows, we've talked about her singing, her dancing, her longbow arrows, her interesting, quaint languages. But not everything you do is a one-woman show,
No.
and we'll point that out. There's some collaborative stuff involved.
Yes.
She does pretty much everything by herself, but on Calliope, you've got a collaborator, Jack Bagley.
Yes.
And let's just tell us some more about the inner workings of Calliope, how it all came to be, and
Okay.
and things that we can talk about on television.
All right. We started Calliope about 2.5 years ago. It was the inspiration I got from going to the circus for my birthday, dressed as Raggedy Ann.
Ah,
Yeah.
good visual. I'm seeing the mental image of that.
Yeah, I could show you pictures.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought how cool it would be to have a children's television show about a clown, and we developed the storyline from there, and I designed the set and the costumes, and developed the character and all the puppet characters, and I work with my partner Jack Bagley, who is a newscaster in LaGrange for some time, and did a pretty good stint in radio, also in LaGrange area.
And how many years was he in LaGrange area? Is it many years or just recent years?
He's been there for about 40 years.
40?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I grew up in LaGrange on and off, so didn't listen to much radio though, but...
WTRP.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
No, there was a station, there's a thing called the Hive of Jive out there somewhere, but that was back in the 60s. Anyway, getting back to Jack and Calliope.
Okay. And so there's collaboration there. We co-write each episode. We come up with the lesson, which puppet characters should be involved, etc. We have a detailed list of everything that needs to go in the episode, and he puts it in a television script format.
Okay.
And it takes us about around 2 to 2.5 hours to film an episode.
Now, I confess I don't watch much television. I turned my TV off in 2009, so I haven't actually seen Calliope yet, but I'm going to be checking it out.
Okay.
But so basically, I'm filling in the space of someone watching this show that doesn't know anything about you and Calliope. Is this basically, are you the only human character in the show, the clown character? Or do you have other humans come in, or is it all puppets and you?
I'm predominantly the only one,
Every
unless
now
I
and
have a
then
guest.
you
Yes.
have
And I play a total of about 4 characters on there.
So maybe you might have the Will Dockery puppet come join you sometime if you.
Yeah, hey, he could be a guest.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I know we're going to be appearing in a movie together, which we're going to
Yes.
talk about later. We're starring in an underground science fiction film together, but we'll talk about that shortly. But the Calliope thing, Jack Bagley writes it, puts it together with input, and y'all collaborate on it. And then you bring it to life.
I bring it to
You
life.
draw any storyboards or anything? It's just
It's all
turn
in
the
my
camera
mind.
on and let it roll.
It's all in my mind.
And there's a basic script. Do you improv on this, or is it like
Yes,
just nailed
I
down?
have to improvise on it because we film about an episode a week, and of course I work,
And just
you know,
turn
too,
it
so
on.
it makes it difficult to learn lines. So he'll feed me the line, we'll do a take, and go from there.
Oh yeah, that's the method I love, because it's like this show here. I'm steadily try not to learn anything about television, so each show's fresh. I think I'm doing a good job of that, but yeah, it's like basically, so you got the overall idea, and then it has room for your own very vivid input. So basically, it can go off in a different direction. Could make for a really interesting TV show. I'm going to be checking it out. It's on Channel 38 for our Columbus viewers.
Saturdays at 11.
Saturdays at 11. I live in Georgia, but don't tell anybody. So Saturdays at 11 in Georgia, you can watch Calliope on Channel 38. I guess that's okay for us to say. And on Channel 7, the only TV station that really matters,
That's right.
it's what time?
It is on several times a week. You'd have to check your listings.
Yeah, just flip it on, folks. In between watching me, watch Rachel. Between the two of us, you should be suitably entertained.
That's right.
And is that this is a good question I guess I should ask. Is there anything else on TV besides Calliope, or is that your only TV?
Not yet. We're about to film a pilot for a new sitcom that we're going to produce.
Oh, yes.
We co-own a production company. It's Calico Cat Productions, LLC.
And that's you and Jack Bagley?
Yes, yes. We're partners, and we film. We have a studio in Pine Mountain, Georgia, which is where I live.
That's interesting, the Bagley name, it rings a bell. One of my heroes, we mentioned FDR, one of my other heroes is Bud Bagley, Eli Bud Bagley. Okay. He's the guy that ran for Bibb City mayor like hundreds of times.
Oh, okay.
Another one of my great heroes, the Bagleys are very cool people. They may not be related. But the sitcom, I thought I was getting a glimmering that there was some more TV coming.
Yes, there is.
And this is a sitcom, sitcom about something? Okay.
Oh yeah, it's not a show about nothing. That's Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a show about everything, right?
It's a Southern comedy. We wrote a play called Reality South, and it was such a success that we decided to turn it into a sitcom.
That's interesting.
It's a blast from the past. If you ever like shows like Mama's Family and the Andy Griffith Show, which
Streetcar Named Desire,
the best show ever.
Carson McCullers, yeah, with laughs. Yes, but Carson McCullers with humor. Some of that stuff's funny. But okay, so this is based on a play.
Yes.
And the play.
We did the play in July in Pine Mountain.
Oh, recent. Okay.
At a community center, yes.
And it ran for a while, or just one?
It ran. We did 6 shows total, and it was a sellout almost every single night. So.
That's one thing we're sort of missing here in Columbus lately. Back in the 80s and 90s, we had a place called the Human Experience Theater, just a small little theater. We had Troy Hurd had some stuff going on. You may know Troy, I'm not sure.
I don't know him.
He moved away. So our little underground theater stuff is kind of like, it's not really, we had the Playwright Cafe for a while, and they were putting on plays. But that's one thing we're missing, that maybe somebody out there watching it, that we need to really get a little underground or small play, I don't know what they call it, little theater?
Community theater.
Yeah, we need more of that. The Springer's great, but we need a little place where something like your play can, and this was right on Broadway. We had the Human Experience Theater.
I remember it.
And they would put on little plays and local plays and different things like that.
I was in an improvisation group that started in Columbus.
Ah. And what was the name of that? Because that sounds vaguely familiar.
Bungee Theater.
You know, that goes back a ways, but that's ringing a little bell. Yeah. For some reason, I keep up with stuff like that. Stuff like that lodges in my mind. So this play, the original play, is being turned into a
sitcom.
Yeah.
Yes, and actually we have it listed on TV Writer's Vault, which is a good resource if you write any television production work. Where industry executives have the opportunity to review it. And Reality South, the sitcom, is under review by Buck Productions. And we have a game show that we wrote that is also under review by BCII out of North Hills, California.
Game show.
And Calliope is being reviewed currently by CBS and BCII.
Oh, wow. Yeah, definitely. So catch it while it's still local, folks, because I think it's going to be out there big. And yeah, I love the idea of adaptations and taking the play and turning it into a sitcom. And basically this is going to be you in this show? I keep sticking on the one-woman show thing.
Reality South is about a family that the main character is Juanita, which is played by me.
And this is a modern This is like current era? Because I know
Kind
you
of.
do the 1940s thing.
No, it's not the 40s. It's kind of a throwback to the 70s, but it is
Oh, okay.
has some modern elements. It's kind of timeless as far as 3 or 4 decades.
The 70s in the South was a very interesting time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so.
That's when I grew up.
Yeah, so definitely looking forward to that. And if it, naturally it's going to have a little bit of our little local flavor in it.
Very much so. Very much so. Everything that I've grown up with as far as the humor and the Southern ways, it's all in there.
And, you know, you've got, the South is not a small place, but our little particular area here has got its own. I mentioned Carson McCullers, Flannery O'Connor, a little bit over as the crow flies. It's that sort of that Truman Capote, you know, that little thing going on of our little niche of the South.
Well, you'd really like Reality South because it's about the culture clash of a Chicago-bred Northerner, played by my partner, Jack Bagley, who moves down from up north to get away from the big city.
Exactly.
Retires in a small town called Huckleberry Grove in Raylene County, Georgia, which is obviously non-existent. And it's about the culture clash.
Yeah, sounds great.
The Hogg family thinks he's just very amusing, and they're always entertained by his big city ideas and ways, and he's constantly perplexed, and he's trying to fit in, and a lot of people can relate to it.
Oh yeah, especially people here, because that's like so many people. Your parents were all born and raised in the South?
Yes.
Well, my dad was military, so I'm a military kid. So that's
Okay.
one thing about the Columbus, this area is, that's one thing that gives us our particular little thing is there's so many displaced Northerners and
Yes.
and Europeans. This is like when I went to high school, it was like most of my best friends, their mothers were German or Italian, and their mothers. Then there was the guys like me. Their mom was from like Bibb City or LaGrange, and their dad was from like New Jersey. So it was like that culture clash is very familiar with people, a lot of people that live around here, because they see their dad's Tony Soprano and their mother is Blanche from Streetcar Named Desire. That's good. Anyway, this is good. It's interesting. I think we may show a clip from some of this stuff if Donnie wants to show some. This may not be ready yet, but there may be a still or something. I'm not sure what comes on the magical blue screen. We could be anywhere that Donnie puts us.
And I failed to mention, we also are in production right now, about to embark on our second weekend of another original play that we wrote called By the Pound.
I'm glad the play thing came up. By the Pound, this is viewable. This is showing
in Pine Mountain.
In Pine Mountain.
At the DHA Community Center on King Avenue. It is this Friday night and Saturday night at 7:30, Sunday at 2:30 for a matinee. Tickets are $10, and it goes to benefit the Humane Society of Harris County.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that is right now, timely. This show's going to be around forever on reruns, but if you're watching it first run, we're flashing that on the screen right now. Get out and check it out. The theater is a definite experience. It's just definitely something to really enjoy and worth the trip. Pine Mountain's just a skip and a jump from here anyway.
Oh yeah,
now.
and you've got beautiful Callaway Gardens there. And
what would you do? Just get on 185 and drive up a little while? Basically, for people who need to know.
27 up to Pine Mountain.
Nope, 27, yeah.
Yeah, and the junction of 354 and 27. King Avenue is right off of there as you're traveling. Turn left at that junction, traveling west on 354, and King Avenue is the first right.
And that's this coming weekend?
It's coming Friday night, Saturday night, 7:30, and
November
Sunday
10th or so?
at 2:30, yes. November 9th, 10th, 11th.
9th, 10th, and 11th? Okay, we're going to take a little pause and be right back with Rachel Elliott. This is Kaleidoscope, where I don't know about art, you don't know about art, So we're here to find out from people like Rachel. Shall we? Come back.
Good morning, Calliope.
Good morning, Giuseppe. It's a beautiful day today, isn't it?
Oh, see, a very beautiful morning. Just right for a good breakfast.
I can't wait. I love starting my day with a delicious, healthy breakfast.
Hey, isn't that fellow from the newspaper over there?
I wonder what that's about. He's over there talking to Penny about something, and knowing Flash, it must be something really big. And I'm just so excited and happy today about the circus coming back to town.
That's right. Just for a few days, on their way to their next show. But it's gonna be good to see you Papa the Ringmaster and you Mama the Trapeze Lady, even for just a little while.
It sure is. Well, I'm going to go say good morning to everyone. Let me know when breakfast is ready.
Don't I always?
Oh, hello. We're back on Kaleidoscope. I've got Rachel Elliott with me. She's pretty much the Renaissance woman of this area. Just everything I can think of besides one thing you didn't do. I can't remember what that is now. We'll get to that later. But you also do this thing with the fancy, that fancy talking language. It sounds so good, that poetry. Would you do some of that for us? Robert Burns and all them people?
Oh, okay.
That comes from that Gaelic?
Well, it's a Scottish dialect. I'm learning colloquial Scottish Gaelic.
It's like them Englishers. All right.
No, darling, I'm talking Scottish, not English. Okay, well, one of my favorite poets besides Rabbie Burns is Violet Jacob. And one of the poems she wrote was Norland Wind. And it starts off, "Tell me what was on your road, you roaring Norland wind, as you come below and free the land that's never free my mind. My feet, they travel England, but I am deeing for the north."
Wow. I keep thinking of the Jabberwocky here. It's really good stuff. But I speak Bibb City. "Hey, would you pass me them taters?" Okay.
Yeah, I speak Catawba.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's going to be on the show.
Yeah.
Anyway. The future. What's coming up for the future of Rachel Elliott?
All right.
Crystal ball.
The future. We're going to finish filming the rest of the third season of Calliope and hopefully get a call from a network any day. And we're also working on some more plays in the series of plays that we are co-writing and producing. And we also direct and we act in them. And I do costumes. And well, anyway, that's what we're doing.
And this is, we were discussing this during the break. This is old school television that Rachel's doing. So a season of Calliope, you don't have to worry about a bunch of reruns because you're going to get like 25 episodes per season.
26.
26 episodes per season. And how many seasons have you got?
We're halfway almost into the third season.
So you've got like, just let me do my fancy ciphering here. You're going to have like 75 episodes to watch here. So definitely. And this is before it goes, nationwide.
That's right. We're on the brink of national success.
And the plays, more plays coming.
Yes, more plays coming, and plays will be sold. We're looking at different publishing companies so that we can make some loyalties off of that.
And of course, the one play is becoming a TV series.
Yes.
There's a pilot, I guess, in the works for that. Or
yes, there is. We've already written the pilot.
And of course, I keep hinting at it. We're going to star in a movie together.
Yes, that's
Brian
right.
Mallard's.
Hey, Brian.
The Minstrels on the Block hero, the legendary rocker from Columbus. Brian has developed. One thing about Brian, his history goes way back into all the science fiction field. You know, he knows all the various science fiction shows, stuff I don't even know anything about. Space 1999, all the way to Star Trek, Indiana Jones, and he's taken all this now and decided to make a movie, and it's going to be like an underground science fiction film, and
it's exciting.
We're starring in it, so it's going to be great. Right. You know, we actually know each other in the movie, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm the graybeard cavalier, and what's your character?
She's an ambassador.
Oh, she's an ambassador.
That's all I know.
Yeah. And I'm the Sultan of Swing in this, I think, or something.
Oh,
the
okay.
Gangsta of Love.
Mark Knopfler? Oh, sorry.
I wanted to call the movie, we wanted to call it, love to call it Space Cowboys, because that's really what it's kind of like. It's like a Western in space. But there's already a movie and a book, and was it Tom Wolfe or somebody wrote a book called Space Cowboys, Clint Eastwood, Tommy Lee Jones.
Doesn't matter. Can't copyright a title.
So it's not going to be called Space Cowboys. I was thinking, well, why not Gangsta of Love? Maurice, maybe, but.
Space Cows?
Space Cows. Space Cows.
No, that's Chick-fil-A.
But yeah, that's going to be coming up. It made me hungry now. I'm not going to name my food of choice here. So
Back to the Future?
Back to the Future.
All right. More plays, more episodes of Calliope. Reality South is going to be produced probably in the first part of what year are we in? 2013. Yeah, 2013.
Good Lord, we're in the future already.
Yeah, we're in the future.
I'm still in 77 though.
And more art, more poetry, more short stories, more characters.
It sounds like
that's on the horizon for me. It never stops.
Maybe we'll get the Will Dockery puppet in there. But
be interesting.
Yes. As far as art goes, it's really some great pen and ink stuff.
Thank you.
Definitely like to delve into some more of that, maybe in the future episode.
All right.
And I like to say that we get a good guest on, we'll come back in like 6 months and see what's developed. Okay. Then we can talk about some of the stuff that was the future and see how that's coming about. Maybe.
Right.
But right now, the easiest way for our viewers to catch your art and some of your artistry is just turn on the TV or get on YouTube, Calliope. Go to Pine Mountain this weekend, check out the play, the name.
Oh, the play is By the Pound, and you can call the Community Center for ticket information at 706-663-4447.
And I imagine that if somebody has an idea that that you would like to commission Rachel, I got a funny feeling that she could probably do a great job for you.
I could squeeze it in.
Yes. Or if you don't have any ideas, call her up and ask her for a few. I'm sure she could sell you a couple.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know. The price is right.
Yeah.
I am Scottish after all.
Well, just throw a few pounds her way.
Pounds sterling, darling.
Oh, yeah. I'm just a simple Southern guy, but I love that fancy talking. Anyway, where do we go from here?
I don't know. Where do we go from here? You can email me at calliope.clown@yahoo.com.
I'd like to talk about the
moonstone.
The rings. This looks like either a mood ring or a Barnabas Collins ring going on. It's the moonstone.
Yeah, that's my moonstone.
H. Rider Haggard.
Actually, it's a Wilkie Collins novel called The Moonstone.
That's right, Wilkie Collins. Yes, I was confusing that with, I think, She or something like that. All this kind of came together and made the Indiana Jones kind of characters.
Did it?
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and all those folks, you know. Really can't remember the guy's name right now. Maybe next episode. Anyway, been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
I had to get a little sip of that coffee there.
Why did you go to Starbucks and not bring me something?
Fountain City coffee only.
Oh, okay.
Local.
Right.
Buy
Should
local.
we do a pitch?
Buy local, keep it local. She's local, I'm local.
I'm not a yokel, I'm a local.
I'm the yokel. She's
yeah, I'm
just
the
a clown.
local. I'll only play one on television.
Oh, yeah, yes. She's also Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yes, and Betty, the home front housewife.
Betty, the home front housewife.
Women's Army Corps, U.S. Marine Corps, Women's Reserve, and so forth and so on.
Singer, dancer.
Dabbler.
There's one thing you didn't do.
Talk about music?
Oh, music.
Music.
Yeah,
I
okay.
play very feebly by ear the lap dulcimer.
Oh, good Lord, that's interesting. Yeah. You should join the Shadowville All-Stars.
If I join anything else, I'm going to come apart.
Well, I've got 89 members already, so it's like. But the dulcimer is a really cool instrument.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of like something the Bibb City Ramblers could get involved in. Yeah.
Well, they do ramble.
Did you ever play the dulcimer for Dan Davison? I know that she knew
No.
Dan was a child.
No, I just
thought
knew
maybe
him.
that was an influence on him. Yeah.
No, I never influenced anyone to do anything.
I can't believe that.
No.
Well, you're probably influencing the future generations as we speak, though.
I hope so.
Yeah. And,
To only do good.
oh, absolutely. Only good.
Absolutely.
And we're going to wrap it up. We're going to be back next week. We're going to see Rachel in about 6 months to find out what's developed. You can catch her when this show's not on. Her show's probably on. So Rachel Elliott, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Mr. Dockery. Darling, it's been absolutely
We'll see you on the silver
phenomenal.
screen.
Absolutely.
Yes. As we play the space cowboys and Indians. And this is Kaleidoscope. I'm Will Dockery. You're not. I'm out of here. See you next week.